The year was 2156, and Earth was on the edge of collapse. Environmental degradation had reached catastrophic levels. Rising sea levels had drowned coastlines, while forests, once teeming with life, were now barren wastelands. Extreme weather, events fueled by centuries of industrial pollution, had become the new normal. Earth's resources were nearly depleted, and nations had turned against each other in a desperate scramble for survival. In the midst of this, a deadly virus arrived from the stars. It began as a faint anomaly detected by a NASA probe, launched years earlier to study the edges of our solar system. The probe, positioned far beyond the orbit of Pluto, had recorded unusual readings, a strange signal coming from a comet passing through the Kuiper belt. Scientists, initially dismissing it as a glitch or interference, were alarmed when the comet collided with Earth's atmosphere. What was thought to be a harmless rock turned out to be the harbinger of humanity's doom. The comet, which had traveled through space for millennia, carried with it an unknown pathogen, a virus unlike anything known to science. Initially mistaken for a benign microorganism, it soon became apparent that the virus was unlike anything seen before. It spread quickly, attacking both human and animal cells, evolving faster than any organism humanity had encountered. And it did not remain on Earth. Within days, the virus was airborne. Within weeks, the world was in chaos. Scientists quickly dubbed the virus X-37 after its discovery was linked to the comet's number. The virus was fast, devastating, and highly adaptive. Traditional vaccines and antiviral treatments were useless against it. It mutated with terrifying speed, evading every attempt at neutralization. Hospitals were overwhelmed. Governments collapsed. The global population began to dwindle as entire cities were consumed by the virus. Dr. Samantha Fields, a prominent virologist and geneticist, was one of the few to recognize the true nature of the virus. Unlike anything she had studied before, the X-37 virus was capable of altering its structure to avoid detection by human immune systems. Worse, it showed signs of intelligence, an adaptive, sentient force that was capable of evolving to any challenge it faced. "We don't have much time," she told a gathering of international leaders in a last-ditch meeting. "We've been monitoring the virus, but its ability to adapt means it's only a matter of time before it becomes airborne in every corner of the Earth. Our civilization is at risk." As the virus continued to spread across the planet, the global response was fragmented. Governments had no choice but to turn their attention to their own survival. It wasn't until a dying world's last hope was unveiled that humanity realized there might be a way out. There's only one chance left. Dr. Samantha Fields stood before the Emergency Council, an amalgamation of surviving world leaders, military commanders, and space agency representatives. Earth had essentially become a living graveyard, its once thriving cities now reduced to ash and ruin. She could see the weary faces of the leaders staring back at her, the weight of their decisions pressing heavily on their shoulders. "We need to act fast," she continued, her voice firm despite the fear that gripped her. "The X-37 virus has mutated beyond what we expected. It's no longer just a biological organism. It's something else, something more dangerous. If we don't stop it now, we risk extinction." General Avery, the head of the Earth's remaining military forces, leaned forward, his face pale but resolute. "What are you proposing, Dr. Fields?" "We send a team into space," she said bluntly. "We track the comet to its origins and find a way to stop this virus at its source." There was silence in the room as the enormity of her words sank in. A space mission wasn't just dangerous. It was their last hope. But it wasn't without its challenges. The virus was evolving in real time, and humanity had no idea what kind of threats awaited them beyond Earth's atmosphere. General Avery spoke again. "Are we seriously considering launching a mission to space? Do you have any idea what's out there? How are we going to stop a virus we don't fully understand?" "We don't have a choice," Fields replied. "We know the virus originated with the comet. If we can reach the debris field near the moon, we might be able to destroy the remnants of the virus, or at least neutralize it. I've been studying its DNA, and there may be a way to target its core structure, but we need samples from the comet to find out how to make that happen. NASA, in collaboration with the world's remaining governments, quickly began preparing for the impossible. Captain Marcus Aldridge, a veteran astronaut, was chosen to lead the mission. He was known for his calm under pressure and his deep experience in space travel. Marcus and his team were briefed on the virus and its potential to destroy life across the planet. Fields was selected as part of the crew to analyze the virus and help develop a solution. Along with her were other experts: Lieutenant Marco Varela, a soldier trained in survival tactics and combat situations; Ava Chen, a biologist who had worked on planetary ecosystems; and Jim Foster, a spacecraft engineer with a reputation for handling the most difficult situations. As the Endeavour was assembled and tested, the crew underwent rigorous training. But as the mission launch neared, the reality of what they were about to do settled heavily on their minds. There was no guarantee they would survive the journey, and even less of a guarantee they would be able to neutralize the virus. Yet if humanity had any hope of survival, it rested on their shoulders. "Do you think we'll make it back?" Lieutenant Varela asked, his voice quiet as he strapped into his seat on the Endeavour. Dr. Fields glanced at him, her gaze steady but filled with uncertainty. "I don't know. We're all going into the unknown." The journey was long and silent as the Endeavour glided through the void of space. The first few days were spent adjusting to the ship's systems, familiarizing themselves with the mission's protocols, and keeping busy. But the unease was palpable. Each member of the crew knew that their destination was more than just another deep space mission. It was humanity's last chance. As they passed through the asteroid belt, Dr. Fields continued her study of the virus, examining the data they had gathered from Earth's last remnants. The virus was evolving in unpredictable ways, and every new discovery seemed to make it more terrifying. "We can't let it reach other planets," she said one day, her voice filled with dread. "If we don't stop it, the virus will find its way across the galaxy. It adapts too quickly." "Captain." Aldridge's face was impassive, but there was a flicker of worry in his eyes. "We're not letting that happen. We'll finish this." As the Endeavour approached the moon, they began to see the remains of the comet in the distance, an eerie, glowing debris field surrounded by fragments of rock and ice. The comet had shattered upon entry into Earth's atmosphere, but its remains still held the key to the virus's origin. Upon landing near the crash site, the crew donned their spacesuits and prepared to explore. The desolate surface of the moon offered little comfort as they moved toward the debris field. The instruments on the Endeavour detected high concentrations of viral particles surrounding the comet fragments. "We've never seen anything like this before," Dr. Fields murmured as she studied the readings. "The virus is fusing with the comet's ice. It's adapting." The crew approached the core of the comet's remains, and what they found was terrifying. Bioluminescent tendrils, like alien vines, were growing from the comet's core. It was alive. The virus had used the comet's ice and minerals to mutate, creating something entirely new. Ava Chen was the first to voice the crew's collective horror. "This isn't just a virus anymore, it's something else. It's alive." The crew carefully began collecting samples when suddenly the tendrils lashed out, latching onto their equipment. The Endeavour's alarm sounded as the crew was forced to retreat, barely escaping with the data they needed. The virus had evolved beyond their expectations, and the situation was growing more dangerous by the hour. But with no other choice, they made preparations to return to the ship and figure out how to destroy what had now become a living organism capable of surviving in the harshest conditions of space. The Endeavour's crew was shaken as they returned to the safety of the spacecraft. The data collected from the comet's core painted a grim picture. The virus had developed into a sentient organism, feeding off the comet's ice and adapting rapidly to the changing environment. It had become a hybrid, a biological and technological entity capable of evolution far beyond what humanity had anticipated. Dr. Fields spent days in isolation, studying the virus's new structure, while the rest of the crew prepared for the next stage of the mission. The longer they waited, the more dangerous the situation became. They were running out of time, and the virus was growing stronger. "I've found a way to target the virus's core structure," Fields said, finally emerging from her analysis. "If we can inject a modified gene sequence into the comet's core, we can destroy it before the virus mutates again." But even with the solution, the crew had to face the reality that the virus was capable of fighting back. The next step was to venture once more into the comet's heart, a final, dangerous mission.